What's going on, YouTube? So Ford finally pulled the cover off the new Bronco. We've been looking at this thing for seems like years now, waiting to see what they're really going to do with it, and they finally pulled the cover off of it. The question is it going to be a success or not? Is it going to flop like the Toyota did, or is it actually going to be a true competitor to the Jeep Wrangler? Well, this is just my opinion. It's always nice to sit out here in nature. Of course, the bugs are pretty loud, but I just love sitting out here sometimes. Gives you a good opportunity to kind of unwind, and get away from it all. But anyhow, so if you guys remember back in like 2005, 2006, Toyota kind of started showing us this new FJ that they were going to bring back. And Toyota has a huge following in this country, especially in the off-road community, right? Everybody knows it. There's Toyota purists and Toyota fanboys out there in equal numbers to the Jeep guys. So Toyota bringing back the FJ was a really big deal, and there was a lot of buzz surrounding that vehicle. Everybody was just up in arms about this. It's going to be awesome. We're going to have a new FJ, finally something to compete with the Jeep, and it was just all the rage there for a while. And then they debuted it as an 07 model. And history has shown us what happened. It flopped, didn't do well. And in my opinion, there are three different things that basically killed the Toyota FJ Cruiser, one of them being the independent front suspension. Now, you can argue the point back and forth until the cows come home. The fact of the matter is, off-road enthusiasts don't really want independent suspension. Over the last, couple of generations of the Wrangler, they've kind of hinted and teased and put the word out there that they're thinking about going IFS. I think they did that on purpose just to kind of see what reaction they would get. And they got hate mail like crazy. People made it very clear that they did not want that. And the reasons are, well, it doesn't articulate as well as a solid live axle. It's more expensive to lift. It's more difficult to lift and keep your geometry correct. And basically it's just more complicated, and so there are some advantages to the old-fashioned solid beam axle, and that's why Jeep guys have stuck with it for so many years. And that was one of the things I think Toyota really screwed up on. The original FJ had the solid axle. This new one they brought out had independent front suspension. The other couple of things really were just the body design, the fixed roof. They should have put a removable roof on that thing. And then the fact that it didn't have a true four-door model. It had those suicide doors, which really are not useful, and it just hinders visibility, basically. So the body design and the suspension design are the two things, in my opinion, that killed the FJ. Because that vehicle, it should have been a wild success. It really should have, but it stuck around for a few years and then it was gone. So here's Ford, and Ford is saying, we're going to take a stab at Jeep. We're going to go for it. And they've got the body structure, I think, is going to be all right. They've got the removable top, removable doors. It's a carbon copy of the Jeep stuff they've been doing for decades. Everything down to how the hard top latches operate. It looks just like Jeep. So they've got that part squared away, but it still has the suspension design that is similar to what Toyota did. It's similar to what Ford's been doing on their trucks and things for years, which is that independent front suspension live rear axle. So I think that's kind of a mistake, honestly. Again, you can argue points back and forth all day long. It rides better supposedly and all this and that, but if you're building an off-road purpose vehicle, why are you putting IFS on it when everybody has said for years that that's not what they want? And when the last huge company that did a direct Wrangler competitor did it and it failed, why are you going to do that for 2021? I have no idea. So I think that's going to be a big mistake. But anyway, we'll see. Here's the other thing, and this is going to probably tick some people off, but when I look at the Bronco, I don't see anything on the Bronco that's original or new. It doesn't give you anything that you can't already get with the Jeep. Removable doors, removable top, lockers front and rear, disconnecting sway bar, auxiliary switches for easily adding lights and things, drains in the floor, You know, on and on and on. Everything on the Bronco is taken right off of the Jeep Wrangler. I mean, I was hoping that they would do some new things, some things we hadn't seen before, make it radically different, kind of rewrite the book. Instead, they copied the Jeep Wrangler, and then they put kind of an old school Bronco sheet metal on it. You know, and it's like, why would you do that? I don't understand. You know, so I just don't see the originality in it. Well, it's got a 7-speed transmission. Jeep doesn't have that. Well, not really. I mean, it's a 6-speed transmission. It's got a special off-road only gear, but Jeep does the same thing. They just do it through the transfer case. So that's not original. You've got 6 road gears to choose from, just like in the Jeep. 35-inch tires. Well, the Jeep has a lower starting base price, and for $1,500 you can put 37s on the Rubicon right out of the box. So that's no big deal. I mean, you can go down the line. There's nothing about the Bronco that you can't already get with a Jeep. Let's talk about the interior. Have you seen the interior on the Bronco? I swear it looks like something Polaris would design. Hard plastics everywhere, very bland, very plain, nothing fancy or flashy about it at all. It looks like a really high dollar side-by-side. That's what it looks like on the inside. I was kind of surprised when I saw that. You know, I'm a Ford guy and a Jeep guy. I don't have a Bronco or a Wrangler obviously right now, but I've had lots of Jeeps, I've had lots of Fords. I was a die-hard Ford guy growing up my whole life. So, you know, I'm not here to knock the Bronco. I don't understand what all the buzz is. Well, other than the fact that it's new, you know. I just don't understand what all the buzz is about, because there's really nothing about it that's special. I mean, there's not. I guess the only things that you could really talk about that are, you know, somewhat unique would be maybe the subjective stuff, like the engine choices. You know, they've got those EcoBoost engines in there that have more torque. Well, I mean, the Jeep Wrangler's got the EcoDiesel. If you want torque, you can get boatloads of torque with the diesel. They've really started to hint that they're going to do the 392 Hemi next year, which will just blow all the EcoBoost stuff out of the water if they do that. So that's all subjective, you know. I mean, I just don't get it. So at the end of the day, I think what's going to happen is the next 12 months, maybe the next 24 months, there's going to be a lot of buzz over this Bronco because it's new. You know, the magazines, the blogs, the forums of YouTube, everything is just going to blow up with Bronco stuff over the next year or two. Probably through that first model year that it's actually out on the road. But trust me, after that, all this newness is going to wear off, all the buzz is going to wear off, and then the Bronco is going to have to stand on its own merits, which is what happened to the Toyota FJ Cruiser, and it's going to have to appeal to buyers somehow in some unique way, you know, that pulls them away from the Jeep brand. And I think it's iffy. I'm not really sure if they're going to be able to do that or not. You know, if Toyota can't do it, one of the most hallowed automotive names in the world, if they couldn't pull it off, then what makes Ford think that they can do it? I don't know. It might be okay, we'll see. But right now it's kind of iffy. And you know, people say, well, it's a Ford, so it's going to be inherently more reliable. Apparently you haven't had a Ford in the last 10 years. There's nothing about Ford that's more reliable. Even if you look at like the latest JD Power studies, I mean, they're way down the list. There's so many companies ahead of them, it's crazy. So you can't just automatically assume reliability either. That's not going to happen. I guarantee you this is an all new vehicle that they've designed from the ground up. It's their first real stab at the Wrangler in decades. I guarantee you this new Bronco is going to have a lot of teething issues when it first comes out. A lot of problems they have to fix. A lot of bugs to work out. So reliability is kind of one of those subjective things. You can kind of throw that out the window too. I don't know, guys. We'll see. But you know, I've just been watching all this buzz over this new Bronco, and I just don't get it. I've been fortunate to have a lot of new vehicles in the driveway. I've kind of seen the way the market's going. I've experienced it. You know, I've driven all the new stuff out there, and I kind of know, you know, what to look for and how it works out with the buzz surrounding these new vehicles. And you know, the Bronco is kind of cool, but to me, it doesn't set itself apart from the Wrangler enough. They should have gone beyond, I think. They should have tried to figure out instead of just writing down everything the Wrangler had and then we want to do the same things. Instead of doing that, they should have brought out a completely kind of unique and different vehicle. I don't know. But again, we'll see how it works out. I don't know. Time will tell, right?